All right, this is question 1 of an AP Precalculus practice exam. We are given a polynomial and we're trying to find the end behavior of this function. Well, first of all, we need to figure out what the leading term is to determine our end behavior, which our leading term is negative 4x to the power of 5. Okay? So from the leading term, we need to figure out what the leading coefficient and the degree is. Well, this is pretty easy. The leading coefficient of any function is always the part before the variable, which in our case is negative 4. And our degree of our function, which would be 5, because that's the degree the x is being raised to. And 5 is an odd number, which determines that our function is going to be odd. So odd is p of x. And with any function that has a leading coefficient that is negative and a degree that is odd, so negative and odd, our function is going to be looking somewhat like this, okay? This is not what p of x looks like, but this is an odd decreasing function, okay? So if we were to look at this and we were to determine its limit as x is approaching infinity, p of x, this is going to equal negative infinity. Because when we're starting from the origin, we're looking leftwards, which means x is going to infinity, we can determine that the y values of p of x are approaching negative infinity because this arrow is pointing downwards. It's going down forever and ever and ever. Now, say we're going to determine the limit as x approaches negative infinity of p of x. This will be infinity, okay? Because as we start from the origin and we go to the left, which x is going to negative infinity, our function p of x is increasing forever and ever and ever, which means this is infinity, okay? Now let's look at our answer choices, okay? Answer choice A is incorrect because this is describing an even function. An even function, your answers are going to be the exact same every single time. For an odd function, they're going to be different, so this could be negative infinity and then infinity for an odd function. But since they're both giving infinity, it's an even, so A is not correct, okay? Part B, the sign of the leading term P is negative. That is true. Negative 4 is negative. The degree of the leading term P is odd, which is true. We determine that it is an odd function. Therefore, the limit as x approaches negative infinity, P of x is infinity. That is true. And the limit as x approaches infinity of P of x is negative infinity. That is also true. So our answer to this question is B. Subscribe for more.